Hello, howdy, and welcome, gamers. Welcome back to another B-Dogs adventure. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. Today is a nice, wonderful cable guy story of the time I responded to a seven-figure dollar amount home. It's not very often that a lowly peasant like myself gets to walk into the wonders of architecture and just inordinate amount of money spending to have a nice modern home, but here we are. Sometimes the little guy does get blessed while he's working. By the way, this entire build has been stolen from Rizal, or Riz-Il, or Sanctum Erd Tree Fragment. I don't know how to pronounce their name. I don't even know what Riz is. I'm 25 years old. You can't expect me to know all the hip lingo. But back to me being a boomer, I walk up to this nice fine establishment, I get welcomed inside, and then escorted into the little theater room they have. And it's pretty nice. Not every nice $1 million home has a theater room, but usually the makings of a good, expensive, amazing house is to have a theater room. I don't know what the rule is for it, I just know it's there. But I'm speaking to good old Michael, my customer, and he's pointing at his server rack and he goes, "The internet has been really slow and just randomly cutting out lately. Do you think you could find anything out with it?" So I get to look at this multi-thousand-dollar server rack that he has set up, and I think to myself, man, what a wonderful day to only have to diagnose and troubleshoot my company's equipment. Because none of this shit is my company's equipment. We do not provide the things that you see on here. Here's a nice little picture of some of the stuff he has. He had a good old Dream Machine Pro just chilling, being his good old gateway. He had a PoE switch right underneath it. By the way, here is what they completely look like, and here's their price tag for them, just to give you a little basis. And then here is a complete image of what his modem looks like, along with the gateway and the PoE switch and the PlayStation 5. And I'm a little bit confused, there's a big difference between these pieces of equipment. Two of them are nice, shiny, and silver, and can have wonderful configuration files, get used in a lot of enterprise areas, and also kind of in the weird rich person circles that I've seen. But then also this fucking piece of shit, ugly ass Ubi modem, a DOCSIS 3.0 modem, so not the greatest. We're currently on a 3.1 system. You can, get your full gig down, but you can also get upload speeds up to, in our system, about half a gig. We haven't done anything high split yet to get to full symmetrical, but that's a story for another time. That's complicated jargon. You're not here for me to speak words at you. Unless they're funny, which I'm sorry, they sometimes are. Congratulations, you're winning the lottery every time you have a nice little chuckle. But I'm talking to Michael here, and I'm just trying to figure out, you have all this nice space in your home. It's all wonderfully internally decorated. You got this cool kitchen set up, your big old living room, and your walkout pool with your lounger and a nice little table. And you just speaking to the guy who obviously didn't know what the fuck any of this was. He just knew that he had his special little Control 4 remote, and he pressed this button to play the PlayStation. That's the extent of his knowledge, and you know what? More power to him. Guy has money, he spends it on people who know what they're doing. And then he can get a guy like me to come out and just go, I don't know what to do here, sir. Let me point my fingers together and call my boss. I didn't actually need to call anybody. I knew the source of the problem. It was his Ubi modem. This fucker came out in like 2016. This was, checking my watch, current year. So 2024, in case you don't know how to look at time and date on a YouTube video. And I just go, hey brother, I'm gonna run some tests. All I can do is just check my cable signal coming in, and that's the furthest extent I can do, because once it touches your equipment, it's kind of your problem. They don't pay me enough to go through your configuration files and mess with your $100 of pieces of equipment here. but I'll do my best. And he says, I will fuck off and go upstairs. Thank you, sir. You are now free to go. Evidently, he wanted to watch a movie in the theater. So I plug into the back to my little coaxial outlet, and I'm getting decent enough signal. It was sitting at about a 47 and a -3 for my fellow cable techs out there. You know what that means. For everyone else, you don't. But guess what? That is right in a good zone of signal. Not much bad can happen to it. It'll be perfectly fine. Do a little throughput test to make sure I can get full speeds out of it, and sure enough, I'm getting full for the area, full download, full 350 upload. Very sweet, very nice. And then I plug it into his Ubi modem, and I take the Ethernet out of his gateway and plug it into my little tester. And man, is that motherfucker only pulling 25 megabit down and basically nothing for the upload. I've never seen it before to where the upload just completely disappears. I've always had it, especially in kind of low data usage areas, I've always seen them be kind of close to what they're supposed to be. Never seen it just completely fucking gone. So I then disconnect the Ubi modem, I plug back into my little cable and test the signal there. No issues at all. Ergo, hey, I think you're really old and decrepit and ancient and just disgusting piece of equipment's going bad. Welcome back from that little jump cut. I went on a tangent. Let me get back to the actual story here. So I'm looking at all of this stuff, and it's starting to become increasingly more obvious that he has no idea what this stuff is, and he didn't really get a professional to do it. It's a bit awkward to point that out to a customer because, well, if it was actually a professional install, I don't want to shit on any of the local companies in town because, well, that word gets around. For as much as I say I live in a megapolis, it's a small town. Word can travel fast. It's at the size where odds are nothing will come of it, but there's always that tiny little possibility it reaches their ears. But thankfully, in this case, it wasn't a professional installer, it was a friend of the family that the customer said, and more power to him. Did a lot of work getting all this stuff set up and working pretty damn well, at least according to my customer, for the past 2 years. But at the same metric, it was like you bought all this really nice, brand new, shiny equipment, but then looked at the modem and didn't think to maybe give that another deeper look. But at the same time, I can't knock them for how, kind of neat and orderly it looks. If you see something that you think looks out of disarray, I was messing around with a lot of stuff because I like touching people's equipment. I never really get to work with these systems at my job because, well, they're expensive. But at the same time, if we're being realistic, it's difficult for a cable guy to break your stuff if they know if they even have like an elementary school knowledge based on any of this information, anything about networking, which we do. When you're 5 years old, you probably got told not to put toothpaste inside of like a blender or a package of hot dogs. The same thing where you don't take toothpaste and you put it inside of a PoE switch and just make it look like a gusher type deal. We refuse to touch people's equipment 9 times out of 10 because, I don't want to have to deal with it. But when it's nice looking stuff, I like to touch. I go touchy, touchy, touchy. But at the end of the day, I spoke to my customer and I was just like, hey, the modem is very obviously going bad. I got good signal coming in and then it just turns to shit. So either you can go out and buy your own, which odds are you totally can. You already got a little ecosystem set up here. You can contact that family friend and tell them, hey, you did good back then. Time for your second attempt. Let's go for gold instead of silver. But he said, nah, just give me whatever you got. So I plug in a brand new 3.1 DOCSIS modem. It has 2.5 gig capability. Not that they're paying for 2.5 gig, but they have the ability to do it in the future. And as I am looking around the nice, wonderful home, I look at my customer, I say, thank you, you have a good day, and he escorts my broke ass outside of the home. So with that, Uh, Thank you to Rizzle for making this wonderful building and establishment that I then viciously stole and am not claiming it as my own. But man, did I take the time, and I mean, look at these paintings. Look how they're organized. Moral of the story is lie, cheat, and steal, Eddie Guerrero style. Thank you. I'll see you next time.